Welcome back to Rise and Thrive. You know, we love to explore those techniques and tools that can help us unlock our full potential and kind of tap into those hidden powers we all have inside. And today, we're diving deep into something that might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
But it's actually rooted in real science. Quantum jumping.
It is, and it's fascinating stuff.
It is. Our listeners have been asking for practical ways to, kind of shift their reality and manifest the life that they really want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And quantum jumping seems to offer a really, really powerful way to do that.
It really does. And our guide for this deep dive is Brian Scott, a YouTuber and the author of The Reality Revolution. He's actually used quantum jumping to create some pretty amazing shifts in his own life, so we're not just dealing with theory here.
Okay, so he's walking the walk.
Yeah.
He's not just talking the talk.
Yeah.
That definitely piques my interest.
For sure.
But first things first, what exactly is quantum jumping? Can you break it down for us in simple terms?
Sure. Think about those tiny particles in quantum physics, right?
Yeah, sure.
They exist in all these different possibilities all at the same time. It's not until they're observed that they actually collapse into one specific state. Quantum jumping is based on the idea that our consciousness can actually do something very similar. We can choose which reality to kind of collapse into by consciously aligning with it.
So it's not just like wishful thinking or positive affirmations. We're talking about actually shifting our consciousness to a reality where our desires already exist.
Exactly. It's about loosening our grip on this current reality and taking a very deliberate leap into a different one.
That's a game changer.
Oh, okay.
But like with any leap, preparation's key, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does prepping for a quantum jump actually look like?
Well, one of the things that surprised me when I first started learning about this is that meditation isn't just for relaxation here.
Okay.
It's about training your consciousness to detach from the limitations of your current reality.
Well, it's almost like mental weightlifting.
Yeah.
To kind of get your mind ready for the jump.
You're stretching your mind to become more flexible and more open to these new possibilities. You also want to think about creating the right setting. A quiet space where you won't be disturbed.
Of course.
And even more important than the external setting is your mindset. Go in with a really serious intention about what you want to change, but also with a playful openness to the unexpected.
So it's a balance.
Yeah.
Of focus and letting go.
It is. And that's why Brian Scott emphasizes the importance of being in a good physical and mental state before you try a jump. He also recommends keeping a journal to keep track of your progress and anything that comes up for you along the way.
Journaling is such a powerful tool for self-discovery.
Yeah.
I can see how that'll be super helpful in this process.
For sure.
But let's get to the good stuff, shall we?
Yeah.
Brian talks about some really specific techniques for quantum jumping. And one that I was particularly interested in is fire breathing. What is that, and is it as intense as it sounds?
Well, it might sound intimidating, but it's actually a surprisingly accessible breathing technique. You basically take these short, forceful breaths through your nose, and it's almost like you're stoking a fire in your belly. It's not about hyperventilating. It's about intentionally activating energy within your body.
I can imagine that would create a pretty intense sensation.
It can. People describe feeling tingling, warmth, even sometimes a buzzing sensation as they do this. And the goal really is to get your energy flowing to prepare yourself for the jump.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Are there other energy-boosting techniques that he recommends?
Yeah, he talks about Qigong and the Self Tibetans and also some exercises from a guy named Lee Holden. All of these are really powerful ways to raise your vibration for quantum jumping, and they're worth checking out. But for the sake of simplicity, let's stick to the basics for now.
Okay, so we've prepped our minds and bodies. Now what?
Now we encounter the void. It's not as empty as it sounds. Imagine a state of consciousness that's beyond thoughts and emotions, where the limits of your current reality kind of just dissolve, and all of these infinite possibilities start to open up.
Wow, that's a powerful image. It sounds a little scary, but also pretty exhilarating.
It can be both, and that's totally normal. Some people experience the void as vast darkness, others as this really brilliant light. Some people feel like they're floating, and some feel like their body is dissolving. And the key is to just embrace those sensations, whatever they are, without any fear, knowing that they're a natural part of this process.
You're telling me to dive headfirst into the unknown. I love it.
It's an adventure.
All right. So we're in the void. How do we actually make that quantum jump?
This is where imagination becomes a really important tool, but not in the way you might think. It's not about daydreaming. It's about using your imagination as a scanner to sense different realities while you're in the void.
Okay.
It's kind of like tuning into different radio frequencies until you find the one that resonates with your intention.
So we're not like forcing our way into a specific reality. We're more like finding one that's already out there that aligns with what we want.
Exactly. Brian describes it as feeling a pull, almost like a magnetic attraction, when he finds the right reality.
Okay, this is where my very logical mind starts to struggle.
Sure.
How do we know when we've found the right reality?
Yeah.
And how do we actually make that shift?
That's where something called the plat comes in. It's this energetic stream that flows from the back of your head or kind of between your shoulder blades. And Brian believes it plays a crucial role in uploading the new reality into your consciousness.
The plat. That's a new one for me. How do we be aware of this energy stream?
It's subtle, but you can practice sensing it by focusing your attention on that area. Some people describe it as a tingling or warmth.
I'm starting to get a sense of how all these pieces fit together.
Mm-hmm.
We prepare our minds and bodies, enter the void, scan for that reality,
Right.
and use the plaque to connect with it.
Mm-hmm.
What does the actual jump itself feel like, though?
Brian describes a variety of sensations. Sometimes it's a sudden shift, a change in pressure, even a feeling of disorientation or like you're falling. But it's important to remember this is an instantaneous jump. It's a shift in consciousness, not a physical journey through space.
So it's like flipping a switch and suddenly, boom,
Yes.
you're in a new reality.
That's a great way to put it. And once you're in that new reality, the next step is adjusting to the new vibration. Adjusting to the new vibration can be a little strange at first.
I bet. It's like, stepping into a new pair of shoes.
Yeah.
You might need some time to kind of break them in.
Exactly. You might feel a bit off kilter, like things are subtly different, but you can't quite put your finger on it.
Right.
Brian Scott talks about grounding routines to help you acclimate to that new reality.
So what are some grounding techniques that we can use after a quantum jump?
Think simple things, everyday things.
Okay.
Deep conscious breaths, feeling the weight of your body in a chair, on the ground, walking barefoot outside if you can, even just eating a hearty meal.
It's about reconnecting with our senses
Yes.
and the physical world around us.
Bringing us back down to earth, literally.
Yeah, literally.
And don't underestimate the power of journaling.
Well, yeah.
Write down the date and time of your jump, the
Well.
techniques you used, any sensations you experienced, and especially any changes you notice, even if they seem really small.
It's like our quantum jumping travel log.
Yeah,
It's a way to track our progress and reflect on what we've experienced.
exactly. And speaking of progress, consistency is key here.
Okay.
Brian recommends setting aside specific times for quantum jumps,
Mm.
maybe 2 or 3 times a week to start, and really creating a routine around it.
So it's like any skill.
Yeah.
The more we practice,
Yeah.
the more adept we become.
Exactly. He also talks about staying aware of the plat and your energy field throughout the day.
Okay.
It's subtle, but the more sensitive you become to it, the more it can help you stay anchored in that reality that you've chosen.
I'm curious. Are there things we should avoid doing after a quantum jump?
Brian cautions against getting too caught up in desperately looking for changes.
Okay.
The more you fixate on them, the more you might miss those subtle shifts that are already happening.
Right.
Trust the process and stay open to how that new reality unfolds.
That's a good reminder to stay present and observe, but not force things.
Exactly. He also talks about something called reality lag,
Oh.
where you might feel a little out of sync for a few days after a jump, like your consciousness is catching up to this new frequency.
So it's normal to feel kind of disoriented or spacey for a little while?
Totally normal. You might even experience what he calls bleed-through memories.
Okay.
Brief flashes of your old reality.
Cool.
It can be jarring, but it's just a sign that your consciousness is adjusting.
Okay, that makes me feel better. I was worried I might, get stuck between realities or something.
Yeah.
But
But,
this is where my skeptical side kicks in.
sure.
What if we don't see any changes at all?
Yeah.
How do we know that it actually worked?
That's a valid question. And Brian acknowledges that doubt is a huge challenge with this, right?
Yeah.
Your logical mind wants to come in and explain everything away or dismiss the whole experience.
Right.
It comes down to persistence, belief, and really paying attention.
Okay.
Keep practicing, even if you don't see immediate results, believe that change is possible, and most importantly, pay attention to those subtle shifts that might be happening all around you.
Like what kind of subtle shifts? Give me some examples.
Sure. Maybe things in your environment appear a little different. Colors seem more vibrant. You notice new opportunities popping up. People react to you in unexpected ways.
So just like little things
Yeah.
that you wouldn't normally notice.
Yeah, it's about being attuned to those details and recognizing that the patterns are changing.
And I imagine even those small shifts are significant.
They really are. They're often the foundation for much bigger changes to come.
It's like planting a seed.
Yes.
You don't see the sprout immediately, but with time and nurturing, it's going to grow.
I love that analogy. It reminds us to be patient and trust that unfolding process.
Speaking of which, what about accidentally jumping to a reality that we don't want? You know, like ending up somewhere we didn't intend to go.
Brian talks about that too. It usually happens when your intention isn't clear or you have a lot of competing desires.
Okay.
It's like sending mixed signals to the universe.
So clarity and focus are crucial.
Yes. He also says it's important to release any negative emotions or limiting beliefs before you jump.
Mm-hmm.
If you carry those into the void, you're going to bring that energy with you into the new reality.
Makes sense. Like packing for a trip.
Yes.
You want to make sure you're bringing the right things with you.
Exactly. And just like any journey, there might be unexpected bumps along the way.
Of course.
Even if you do everything right, things might not go exactly according to plan.
What do we do then if we find ourselves in an unintended reality? Or if things just feel off?
The first step is to stay calm.
Okay.
Don't panic. You always have the power to shift back. Just refocus your intention, reconnect with the void, and direct your energy towards the reality that you want.
That's good to know.
Right.
Like a cosmic undo button.
Right. But what if you're feeling overwhelmed or scared during the process? It's okay to take a break.
Yeah.
Quantum jumping isn't a race.
Right.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, frightened, just not effective, it's perfectly fine to take a break and come back to it when you're ready.
It's like any practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to step back and recharge
Exactly.
before we can keep going.
It's about honoring your own pace and listening to your intuition.
You know, I was thinking about something Brian mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
the Mandela effect.
Hmm.
You know how people remember things differently?
Yeah.
Like the spelling of the Berenstain Bears or the color of certain logos.
Right.
He thinks those could be glimpses into parallel realities.
That's a trip. Right.
It really is. It makes you wonder if these shifts in reality are happening all the time, even when we're not consciously quantum jumping.
It's a possibility.
That's both exciting and a little unsettling, but, you know, it also makes me think
Mm-hmm.
maybe quantum jumping isn't just about manifesting stuff or changing our circumstances.
Yeah.
What if it's about personal growth and spiritual evolution too?
I think you're onto something there. Quantum jumping isn't just about changing your external reality. It's about changing your internal reality. It's about aligning with your highest potential and really becoming the best version of yourself.
And this is where Brian's idea of the higher self comes in, right?
Yeah.
What is that exactly, and how does it connect to quantum jumping?
Think of your higher self as the wisest, most intuitive part of you, the part that's connected to a higher level of consciousness. And Brian believes it acts as a guide and a protector during these jumps.
Okay.
So it makes sure you're transitioning smoothly and that you don't end up in realities that might be harmful or not good for your growth.
That's a comforting thought.
Right, like having a cosmic guardian angel.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Looking out for us
Yeah,
as
yeah.
we explore these uncharted territories.
And the more you practice quantum jumping, the more you become attuned to your energy and consciousness, the deeper that connection with your higher self becomes, giving you more access to its wisdom and guidance.
This is fascinating.
It is.
It's like quantum jumping is also a deeply spiritual practice.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that you're not just a physical being,
Right.
but also a spiritual being with limitless potential.
And that potential is connected to this idea of quantum surfing, right?
Yeah, so Brian talks about quantum surfing as this advanced level of quantum jumping.
Okay.
Where it becomes less about making these isolated jumps and more about this constant state of flow and alignment with the realities that you desire.
Oh, wow.
So you're riding the waves of possibility and always evolving and expanding your consciousness.
You become a master of your own reality.
Exactly. And while we've only scratched the surface today,
Yeah.
I think it gives you a good glimpse of what's possible when you really embrace the power of quantum jumping.
It's been an amazing deep dive. I feel like we've covered so much. Yeah, we had what, the why, the how, the potential benefits, the challenges. Before we wrap things up, though, I'm curious what resonated most with you.
For me, it's a reminder that we're not limited by the reality that we see in front of us.
Yeah.
We have the power to choose a different reality, a better reality, and to become better versions of ourselves. It's such a message of hope and empowerment.
I love that. It's like quantum jumping gives us this key that unlocks all these infinite possibilities.
It really does.
And I think that's what's so exciting about it, you know?
It is.
It's not just escaping a reality that we don't like,
Right.
but it's about creating a reality that we do want, one that's aligned with our deepest desires, you know,
Yes,
all
yeah.
those things that light us up.
Absolutely.
And it's not some far-off mystical concept either.
Right.
It's something we can start playing with, like, right now,
Yeah,
with the techniques and insights that we've talked about.
exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be willing to experiment, practice, and trust the process. Be open to the unknown and allow yourself to be surprised.
I love that. So to wrap things up, let's give our listeners a challenge.
Okay.
If you could quantum jump, what reality would you choose?
Mm.
What limiting beliefs would you need to let go of? And what version of yourself would you step into?
Those are powerful questions. Take some time to journal about them, visualize that reality, feel it in your heart, and then start taking those first steps no matter how small they seem.
Because the power to quantum jump is within you. It's time to unlock it and create the life you truly desire.
Yes.
And until next time, keep rising and thriving.
And keep exploring those infinite possibilities.